Today we're diving into a piece of source text that's incredibly brief, but honestly, it's going to challenge the very core of our morality. We're looking at a philosophical meditation on intent versus impact. Think about it. What actually happens when we try our absolute hardest to be good, to be hyper-aware, and yet things still manage to go wrong? Let's just jump right into this explainer because this short text, it's going to ask you to examine the absolute fabric of your daily interactions.
Just a question to the world. Let those words just kind of sit there for a second. Our source material kicks off with this exact line. It's incredibly humble, but at the same time, massively ambitious, right? The author isn't scribbling in a private diary or calling out someone who wronged them. No, this is an open broadcast. When you pose a question to the world, you're acknowledging that this dilemma, it's not just stuck in your own head. You're basically suggesting it's a fundamental glitch in the human operating system. By opening up like this, the author pulls every single one of us right into this shared philosophical space. We're not just bystanders here, we are the intended audience.
Which brings us to Section 1, A Question to the World.
And moving right along to the burden of consciousness.
Okay, so to really grasp the author's ultimate question, we first need to wrap our heads around the mental state they're describing. The text lays out this very specific prerequisite condition. If you're conscious of just think about what an absolute burden it is to actually live that way. Most of us were operating on autopilot for a huge chunk of the day, aren't we? We make coffee, we commute, we do the whole small talk thing, all without dedicating intense, laser-focused thought to every single micro-movement. But here, the author is asking us to imagine a state where you literally strip that autopilot away. What if you were forcefully, deeply conscious of absolutely everything you did? It's this state of absolute hypervigilant awareness.
And here's exactly what the text says we're hyper-aware of. Action you take, every discussion you take. Let's break those two domains down a bit. First up, the physical realm, your actions. The emails you send, the favors you do, the actual physical space you take up. Then, the second piece is the verbal realm, your discussions, the words you choose, your exact tone of voice, the advice you hand out. I want you to actively imagine the sheer exhaustion of this. Think about obsessing over the exact tone of a 2-sentence work email for like an hour, or overanalyzing the precise inflection of how you said hello to a neighbor, just replaying it over and over in your head. You're essentially trying to play a perfect game of chess with your entire life, calculating every possible variable just to make sure you only do good.
This leads us to our next section, doing ill without intent.
So, we've established the setup, right? You're trying your absolute hardest. You're wide awake, calculating every action, every discussion to ensure you're operating flawlessly. And yet, we hit this core dilemma. Can you perform ill without an intent behind it? Just take a moment with that. This is the undeniable tension of our explainer today. If you are entirely conscious of your actions, and you have absolutely zero desire to cause harm, is it still possible to hurt someone? Can the actual impact of your actions be totally divorced from your intentions? It completely challenges our fundamental moral compass, which, usually tells us that if we mean well, we're doing well.
And this perfectly illustrates a profound disconnect we all experience in life at some point. On one hand, we have performing ill, the actual real-world manifestation of harm or a negative outcome. And then, contrasted against that, we have lacking intent, the complete absence of any internal malice or bad faith. The source text is forcing us to stare down the terrifying reality that these two things can absolutely coexist. You can pour perfectly good intentions into a highly conscious action, and guess what? The result can still be pain. It basically means we don't have total control over the ripples we create in the water, no matter how carefully we drop the stone.
Which brings us to the mystery of karma.
So how on earth does the author resolve this painful paradox? Well, they offer a resolution that, ironically, opens up even more mysteries about how the universe operates. The text continues, few karma are naturally performed. Now, this is a massive shift in perspective. After agonizing over that hypervigilant consciousness we just unpacked, the sheer exhaustion of trying to control every action and discussion, the author introduces this idea of things that just happen naturally. It suggests that despite our absolute best efforts to micromanage our existence, there's this underlying current of action, or karma, that just operates entirely on its own accord. So, the really crucial point here is this duality. On one side, we have our desperate, exhausting attempts to control every single outcome through a hyper-aware state. But on the flip side, we face the inevitable natural flow of life where karma is just naturally performed. What the source material is telling us is that we literally cannot outthink the universe. You can be as conscious as humanly possible, but you're still going to inevitably perform actions that have unseen, completely unintended consequences. Why? Because that is simply the natural state of existence. The author is actually giving us a highly specific, super personal definition of karma here. In this text, karma isn't framed as some strict cosmic point system of reward and punishment. Instead, it's defined by 3 distinct traits. It's naturally performed, it's uncertain, and it's undefined. This means that some consequences occur completely outside our predictable little rules of cause and effect. And honestly, it's a humbling realization. It completely strips away our illusion of absolute control and asks us to just accept a degree of chaos in our moral ledger.
Which uncertain and undefined. The author ends the entire broadcast with those exact words. Notice how they don't try to neatly solve the equation. They simply point directly to the missing variables. Even with our absolute best intentions, the ultimate impact of our lives remains uncertain and undefined. So, I want to leave you with this to chew on. If we can't guarantee that our good intentions will actually prevent harm, how does that change the way you judge others when they inevitably hurt you? And, perhaps even more importantly, how does it change the grace you give yourself when you accidentally cause harm? Thank you so much for exploring this profound question with me today. Keep thinking, keep analyzing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.